Good afternoon. We're coming to you from inside the Eagle Creek Golf and Country Club clubhouse. And with what's going on right now in the world and over in Japan with the men's and women's Olympic golf and the incredible golf course that's been on display that hopefully you've all got to see a little bit of, I wanted to bring a guest to you today who has a history with the construction and architecture of that golf course that you're seeing. And for your 2021 golf course renovation, our contractor is GCID Incorporated, who's done a lot of work over the years here at Eagle Creek. And one of the talents that they have, who is also involved in the work here, is Dave Carter. Dave is a lead shaper here for the 2021 renovation, and we want to talk a little bit to Dave about who he is, where he's been, and especially his role in the construction and architecture of the Olympic golf course. So Dave, welcome.
Thank you. Very nice to be here. I appreciate it.
So you were involved with the renovation for the Olympic golf course with Tom Fazio. Tell us a little about who was involved in that and you know, how well they're known in the golf world. As
an individual, when I think of the world's most popular designers, Tom Fazio, Jack Nicklaus are right there, you know, in my era anyway. Tom Fazio, his son Logan, was also involved with this last job here at Kasumigaseki and was probably the one that spent the most time there. I've been in the industry for over 30 years. Worked in and along with the Fazio design group, probably 7, 8 different, you know, full renovation or new construction jobs. And I was asked back there in 2015 to participate in that as one of their shapers and a liaison, if you will. I have to tell you, probably the best job I've ever been on. Fantastic people to work with. Because having been there for over 100 years, the natural beauty aesthetics there, just over the top. It was just fitting it back into a mold that was already there and taking it to another level.
Take us through the steps of reshaping or rebuilding one of those greens along with your work in the field and communicating and working with the Fazio team.
Sure. Starts with mostly verbal instruction from the designers. And they ask us as a shaper to give them X amount of square footage, bunker here, 2 bunkers there. We do the shaping first. They'll give it the approval process starts with that, approved in subgrade. Then of course it'll be drained and 4-inch rock layer installed. And Fazio uses what's called a 10-foot grid system to ensure the elevation points on the putting surface are exactly what they've asked for. And in the end, it's exactly where they wanted it from that first approval.
Here at Eagle Creek, well, as you can see from the Olympic golf course, there's quite a bit more movement in those greens than what we're doing here
Yes.
at Eagle Creek. But our construction process and your work for our greens here sounds to be a lot similar.
Very similar.
If not the same.
Very similar. We use some of the same techniques, whether it be the 10-foot grid system or laser grading or smart levels, which is a tool that just gives you a percentage of pitch. We use those all to ensure that what is left in the finished process is absolutely what was asked for by the designer, by the client, and you get that product with quality control.
So Dave, tell us what your favorite hole is at the Olympic golf course, and then some of your favorite aspects of the architecture and design of the course itself.
Well, if I had to give you a favorite hole, 17 is one of my favorites. It's a short par 4.
It's a good hole.
Even drivable.
Good hole.
The bunkering is just incredible.
Yep. I think Xander made eagle there yesterday or last night. Yep.
Great feel to that hole. You kind of start in the bottom and you play uphill to this beautiful setting. I really love the bunkering on 2.
Amazing.
Another short par 4, but the setting, how they came out, those probably my 2 favorites.
The camera angles from a player being in the fairway and looking down the fairway, and the lines from the fairway bunkers tied in with the greens bunkers, and the lines with the green slope itself are incredible.
It all fits together so
Yes.
wonderfully.
Yes. So tell me about the tree and the lightning. You know, and then tell me a little bit about once the sod showed up, what you thought about that process.
Well, let's go ahead and do the tree part. The one of the trees, a key one on, I believe it was hole number 12. Left side, we saved this pine and worked around it as part of the strategy of the golf hole, and very important key tree. Worked around this thing for 3 or 4 months.
And this tree was probably 100 years old or something.
Yeah, it wasn't that huge. It was just one of those nice Japanese pines that had a nice look to it, and it was in the right spot. Logan loved it. He wanted it there. Come in one morning, tree is blown to smithereens. It's still on fire. Lightning struck. Disappointing, disheartening. I did all this work. I worked around that tree so much, and here it is, it's blown to smithereens, right? So, and then it got replaced, I think, with not so good of a tree because they had already moved all of their really nice key trees and spent the money they were going to at that time. Too late in the project to get another really big one in.
So I thought it was really interesting when you told me about how the sod arrived and how the how different it is over there versus the sod industry or sod contractors, how they do things here in the United States. So tell me a little bit about that.
The sod there came in small rolled packages like a Christmas present, literally rolled and tied with a ribbon, each one individually. Now my understanding is so that the many different crews that were installing it all had a different color ribbon that indicated that it was their sod, and that's how they would ensure they got paid for it, because there was a lot of people on this project. At any rate, meticulous, absolute precision that the Japanese people are into, and I mean across the board. The sod is just a great example of it. String lines laid out in the fairway to lay it out in precision lines, top dressing it immediately with sand and other amenities to fill in the gaps of the sod. Everything about it, just meticulous behavior. So they would bring it out in little small dump trucks and just dump out these bundles all over the place, and they'd line it up in perfect rows. Versus, you know, here in the States where everything comes on a big truck, on a big pallet, a big machine, moves it out to a specific spot, guys start throwing sod. This is so much more of a dubbed down, but yet relaxed, I want to say, kind of installation process, but very effective. I mean, to cover that much ground with these little tiny pieces of grass, it was impressive to watch.
And that course was all sodded,
All
except
sod,
the greens.
100%.
Greens were seeded.
Correct.
With the 007 mint grass. So the wall to wall was sodded.
Yes.
With these little bitty packages of sod. For jobs in the States, if you were doing wall to wall sod, they would show up in a big roll.
Yes.
They would go on this machine that basically rolls them out. You'd never see these little pieces done on a huge sod job like that here.
No.
Interesting.
And my understanding also is that the sod was coming from several different farms. They had to harvest it from many places to accumulate that much.
There can't be that much sod on the island of Japan.
No. It was quite the task, I understand, to acquire it all.
Huh. So Dave, tell us about some of the kind of behind the scene challenges that you've had while constructing and shaping here at Eagle Creek.
Well, Eagle Creek is fairly low in elevation, even compared to some of the courses here in this area. Sit very close to the mangrove and the water. It's like the end of the line before you get into to the ocean, so to speak. So if you had to place something that was a level of difficulty, it is the elevation here, because when you get a lot of rain, it can make it very, very difficult to move things around. So logistics again become a problem, even if it's just 1,000 feet. If it's 1,000 feet through mud, it can be very difficult.
Right.
And it can also be very destructive. And part of the game is to not tear things up. Only what you're wanting to renovate, and things that we haven't, we don't want to damage them if we don't have to. So it's a dancing game sometimes to work in and around that. It's probably the hardest thing to accomplish out here at Eagle Creek.
And of course the heavy rains don't help. once you finish something, and like what happened to us on number 12, well, actually number 9 and number 12, where we had the rough shaping in, we're actually starting to drainage. We got a 2-inch bomb rainstorm and basically had to completely redo your work
starting
again.
over.
Yes.
It's worse than starting over.
We were starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We've got 5 greens left to shape. We've got 17, 10, 11 putting green, and of course the new green that's going in the short game facility.
Correct.
So we're getting close to that finish line with the greens construction. Well, as you know, we've been doing weekly video updates for our members. We've been showing them your work and you know, how the greens move, the characters, and like you say, the flavor of those greens and the green surround. So it's really an honor to have you here and your experience here, and to watch you work with our architect Gordy Lewis, the rest of the guys from GCID, to create the best putting surfaces that we could possibly can for Eagle Creek Golf and Country Club.
Yeah, you can count on the fact that whether I am working on a wildly huge project like Kasumigaseki, which was the USGA, the IGF, the Olympic Committee, the clients, the designer,
the club,
that's a lot.
Right.
And it was looked at so heavily. But whether I'm here at Eagle Creek or anywhere in between, always want to put out the very best product that can be put out. Having a great guy like Gordy Lewis to work with here,
yes,
he gives me a lot of levity, and we work very well together to take what's here and look at it in the field as well as what he's put on a piece of paper and come up with the best fit for that green's surrounds and everything about it, to give this updated version of Eagle Creek that is more user-friendly, more playable around the greens. Everything we've done here, in my opinion, knocking it out of the park.
Good deal, good deal. Well, we appreciate you having it here today, and folks, that will wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed kind of our conversation, and hope you tune in to see some of the Olympic golf play, and especially check out that golf course and the architecture and Mr. Carter's work. See you next time.
Thank you.